7 points clear, 8 games to go, and a performance that showed exactly why this Arsenal side is built differently. Welcome to Andy Gunners Live. I'm Andrew, and tonight we are talking about a Premier League title race that is now firmly, undeniably in Arsenal's hands. If you are new here, hit that subscribe button right now. Turn on notifications because on nights like this, you need to be here from the first second. Drop a comment below. Tell me where you are watching from. Tell me how you are feeling, because if you are a Ghana right now, the feeling should be very, very good. Stay until the end of this video because I have got a full tactical breakdown, a deep look at the title run-in, the significance of tonight's result at the Etihad, and why one particular performance tonight tells me everything I need to know about where this Arsenal squad is mentally and physically as we enter the final stretch of what could be a historic season. Let us get into it. Amex Stadium, Wednesday night, a ground that has never been easy for any side in this division. Fabian Hürzeler's Brighton are well organised, technically gifted, and they press with real intensity and structure. They have quality throughout the squad. Bart Verbruggen in goal is one of the best young goalkeepers in Europe. Carlos Baleba and Matt Swiffer control the engine room. With intelligence, Jorginho Rutter carries real threat from the front. This was always going to be a difficult assignment, and Arsenal made it look even more difficult on themselves with the injury situation they were carrying into this game. William Saliba, our best defender, absent. The ankle he turned against Chelsea at the weekend ruled him out tonight. Martin Odegaard, our captain, our heartbeat, our leader, still not available. The knee issue he picked up against Brentford back in February continues to keep him sidelined. And if you have been watching this squad closely, you know exactly how much his absence changes the rhythm of what we do in possession. Ben White also unavailable, not keeping him out of the squad. 3 key players gone, and we still had to go to Brighton and get the 3 points because Manchester City were playing at home to Nottingham Forest tonight, and the pressure was very much on. So what did Arteta do? He trusted the system, he trusted the squad he has built, he trusted Christian Mosquera, the summer signing from Valencia, to step into Saliba's position alongside Gabriel Magalhaes and perform at the highest level. And in the 9th minute, before Brighton had even settled into their rhythm, Bukayo Saka ended the contest, cutting inside from the right. That movement we have all seen hundreds of times. The slight drop of the shoulder, the shift onto the left foot, the shot that takes a deflection and slips through Bart Verbruggen's legs and into the net. 1-0, 9 minutes gone, and Bukayo Saka with his 300th competitive appearance for Arsenal Football Club. Just let that number sit with you for a moment. 300 appearances. He is 23 years old. He has been through injury. He has been through enormous pressure and public scrutiny. He has carried this club in moments when it needed carrying. And he keeps showing up. He keeps delivering night after night, week after week, ground after ground. 300 appearances. And he writes himself into the story of this night with the only goal. I know the performance was not fluid. I know Brighton dominated possession for long spells. I know there were moments in the second half where the host pushed, where the pressure built, where you could feel the nerves through the screen. But here is what I want to say about that, and this is important. Winning ugly is a skill. Winning ugly away from home, short-handed, under pressure, that is a skill that this Arsenal squad has been developing for 3 seasons. And tonight they deployed it perfectly. I have to talk about Gabriel Magalhaes specifically, because early in this match, David Raya played a misplaced pass, the kind of pass that sets pulses racing. Brighton were pressing high, the pass went astray, and for a split second it looked like Brighton were going to walk into an equaliser on a plate. Gabriel was there, instant read of the situation. Decisive intervention, clean and composed. That is what you sign a man to a new long-term contract for in the summer. That is what a leader does when the pressure is at its highest. Gabriel has been nothing short of exceptional this season, and on a night when Saliba was missing, he took full ownership of that backline and delivered. Mosquera alongside him was also impressive. The young Spaniard has adapted remarkably well since his move from Valencia. He is composed in possession, strong in the air, disciplined with his positioning. He did not try to be William Saliba. He just did his job. That is all Arteta needed from him. The defensive structure in the second half, absorbing Brighton's possession, dealing with crosses, tracking runners, was as organised as anything we have produced under Arteta. And that is high praise because the defensive identity of this team is one of the best in Europe. With Odegaard missing and Merino confirmed out for the rest of the season following his foot surgery, the midfield responsibility falls heavily on Declan Rice. And yet again, he showed why Arsenal paid what they paid for him and why he has grown into one of the best central midfielders on the planet. Rice was assessed after picking up a thigh issue against Chelsea. He was available tonight and he was immense, winning duels, covering ground, dictating the tempo in moments where we needed to slow the game down. protecting the back line, being the defensive shield and the progressive driver all at once. Zubimendi alongside him has been a revelation this season. The Spaniard moved from Real Sociedad in the summer, and he was not a flashy signing. He was a smart signing, a football brain signing. He reads the game at a different frequency to most players. He intercepts danger before it develops. He moves the ball with 1 and 2 touches, keeping things clean, keeping the team in shape. On nights like tonight against a Brighton side that wanted to control possession, having Zubimendi in the engine room was invaluable. And then there is the energy and quality of what Christian Norgard brings off the bench when needed. The Dane who made the move from Brentford in the summer has settled seamlessly. He provides cover, intensity, and a physical presence that changes games. This Arsenal midfield, even without its captain, even without Marino, is one of the deepest and most balanced in the country, and that is by design. That is what a proper sporting director building a proper squad looks like. I said I would come back to Saka, and I am going to, because 300 appearances deserves more than a passing mention. Think about what this young man has given to this football club. He came through the academy. He broke into the first team at a time when Arsenal were going through one of the most turbulent periods in the club's recent history. He stood on that Wembley pitch after the Euro 2020 final and took a penalty and missed and had to carry that weight publicly at the age of 19. And he came back. He put that on his back and he came back stronger, better, more determined. He has been arguably the best player in the Premier League over the last 3 seasons. His numbers in terms of goals and assists speak for themselves, but it is the consistency that separates him. The fact that you can write his name on the team sheet and know, not hope, not think, but know that he is going to give you everything he has. Tonight at Brighton, when Arsenal were without 3 key players and the game was tense and the result was anything but certain, Saka produced a decisive moment in the 9th minute. 300 appearances, hundreds of moments like this. He has earned every word of praise this fan base has for him. And he is still only 23 years old. The trajectory of Bukayo Saka's career is one of the most exciting storylines in world football right now. And he is ours. He signed that contract. He chose to stay. He chose this journey. And if this Arsenal squad goes on to lift the Premier League trophy at the end of May, Saka's contribution to making that happen will be at the centre of the story. Now let us talk about what happened at the Etihad tonight, because while Arsenal were grinding out the 3 points at Brighton, something remarkable was unfolding at Manchester City's ground. Nottingham Forest, 17th in the table, 28 points, 1 point above the relegation zone. They went to the Etihad Stadium and held Manchester City to a 2-2 draw. City could not beat a side fighting relegation at home. Let me say that again. Clearly, Manchester City, with their squad, with their resources, with their home support, could not beat Nottingham Forest, a side with 28 points in 17th place. This is a Manchester City team that has now taken 5 losses this season. Their worst return in years. A team that looked invincible not long ago and now looks uncertain, fragile at the edges, unable to find the consistency that defined them for so long. Now, I am not going to exaggerate this. City are still a serious football team. They still have enormous quality. They still have that game in hand. If they win that game, the gap narrows. So nobody at Arsenal, nobody in this fan base should be thinking the title is already won. That is not how football works. And that is not how Mikel Arteta thinks. But context matters. And the context is this. It is March. It is the final phase of the season. The pressure is at its absolute peak. And Manchester City are dropping points at home to relegation candidates. That is not the behaviour of a team that is coming for the title. That is the behaviour of a team that is fractured somewhere, tactically, mentally, or both. Arsenal, meanwhile, are finding ways to win without Saliba, without Odegaard, without Marino, away from home, under pressure, 3 consecutive league wins, 67 points from 30 games, 7 points clear. This is a team that is built to win this title. Let us look at this properly, because I want to give you the full picture as it stands right now. Arsenal have 67 points. City have 60. City have 1 game in hand, so if they win it, the gap becomes 4. But Arsenal have 8 games to play, and they are the team with momentum, the team with structure, the team with a manager who has had 3 years of learning exactly what it takes in the final stretch of a title race. The question people are asking, the question I keep seeing in the comments, is whether Arsenal can hold their nerve this time. After 2 near misses, after 3 consecutive seasons as runners-up, after the heartbreak of what happened in 2023, 24 and 2025, can Arteta's side finally get over the line? And my honest answer, the answer of a supporter who has watched this club through everything, is yes. But here is why. It is not just because the points gap is significant. It is because of what I saw tonight. A team that came to Brighton short-handed. a team that conceded possession for long spells, a team under sustained pressure in the second half, and they defended, they organised, they communicated, they held the line, and they won. That is not the Arsenal of 2 or 3 years ago that will go to Brighton and crumble if the performance was not perfect. This is a different Arsenal, a more resilient Arsenal, an Arsenal that has been forged through the heat of 3 consecutive title races, 3 consecutive near misses, and come out on the other side with something harder and more unbreakable. The defensive record this season speaks volumes. Under Arteta, Arsenal have consistently carried the division's best defensive numbers. Saliba and Gabriel as a partnership have been as good as anything in Europe. And even tonight, with Saliba missing, with Mosquera stepping in, the defensive foundation held firm. When your defensive structure is that stable, when your goalkeeper David Raya, even accounting for the misplaced pass tonight, is as commanding as he has been this season, and when you have Gabriel Magalhaes organising and commanding that backline with the authority of a player who was born to do exactly this, you have the foundation of a title-winning team. Add in the creative quality of Saka, the goal threat of Victor Gyökeres, the intelligence of Zubimendi and Rice in the engine room, the technical quality that Eberechi Eze and Noni Madueke bring from wide positions, and the contribution that young Ethan Nwaneri continues to make, and you have a squad that is genuinely complete. I cannot deliver this script without acknowledging what hangs over everything. This club has not won the league since 2003 to 2004. That is 22 years. 22 years of watching this club come close, of watching other clubs lift the trophy, of wondering whether we would ever get back to the summit of English football. The Invincibles, that team. Thierry Henry, Patrick Vieira, Robert Pires, Ashley Cole, Sol Campbell, Jens Lehmann, unbeaten across the entire season, was a different era of football, but it was an extraordinary achievement, and it has stood for over 2 decades as the last time Arsenal were champions of England. Mikel Arteta was in that generation of Arsenal fans and players. He knows the weight of this. He has spoken about it. He has built this project with the understanding that the destination was always this, bringing the title back to the Emirates. And now here we are, 7 points clear, 8 games to go. The manager who built this squad, piece by piece, summer by summer, with clarity of vision and consistency of purpose, is 90 minutes of football away from needing the city of Manchester to run out of ideas entirely. This is also, for those who have been following this remarkable story, Arsenal's 100th consecutive season in the top flight of English football. The first club in history to achieve that milestone. And if they can couple that historical achievement with a Premier League title in the same campaign, it becomes one of the most remarkable chapters in the club's entire history. I want to say something about Mikel Arteta that sometimes gets lost in the noise around the results and the table. This man came to Arsenal in 2019 as a first-time manager. He had no prior head coaching experience at any level. He inherited a squad that was in decline, a club that had lost its identity, and a fan base that had lost its belief. And he stayed the course. He stayed when results were bad in 2020 and 2021, and sections of the support were calling for his removal. He kept building, he kept developing players, kept bringing in the right people, kept refining the system and the culture. Gabriel Hines alongside him now as assistant, Andrea Berta as sporting director, shaping the recruitment. The structure around Arteta at this club is as professional and as forward-thinking as it has been in decades. And his man management on display tonight was masterful. He sent his team out to Brighton with 3 important players missing, and they were compact, organised, disciplined and decisive in the moments that mattered. Saka delivered when it counted. Gabriel delivered when it counted. Rice delivered when it counted. That is culture. That is what you build over years of deliberate, disciplined work. You cannot manufacture it. You cannot buy it overnight. Arteta has grown it at Arsenal from the roots up, and tonight was another demonstration of exactly what that looks like in practice. So where does this go from here? First and most pressing, the injury updates. Saliba, as far as the latest information suggests, is not facing a long-term problem. The ankle issue from Chelsea is being managed carefully, and there is genuine expectation he will be back soon. His return will transform the defensive unit immediately. Odegaard is more delicate. The knee has been monitored carefully, and the possibility of his return for the FA Cup fixture against Mansfield has been mentioned. If he can get minutes in that environment before returning to the Premier League, that is a significant boost for the final stretch of the season. Merino is unfortunately not coming back this season. The foot surgery he underwent following the stress fracture was serious, and the focus now shifts entirely to his rehabilitation for next campaign. It is a significant blow to lose his quality and his energy, but as tonight demonstrated, this squad has the depth to absorb even that kind of loss. Garner Havertz is making his way back gradually. He came off the bench against Chelsea and is being managed carefully in terms of his workload. As the season reaches its climax, having Havertz returning to fitness adds another dimension to Arteta's options. And Max Dowman, the young talent who caught the eye earlier in the season, is reportedly very close to his return following the ankle ligament issue he sustained in December. He has already played 45 minutes for the under-21 side and will be ready to contribute from the bench when needed. Depth at every level of this squad. That is why Arsenal are 7 points clear in March. I want to end this with something direct and honest. We have been here before. We know what it feels like to be in this position and watch it slip. The memories of 2023 are real. The memories of 2024 are real. The memories of last season and the points dropped from winning positions are real. I do not dismiss that, and I am not here to pretend none of that happened. But I am also here to tell you, and this is the honest view of someone who has watched this squad build over years, that this team is different. This moment is different. The resilience they showed tonight at Brighton, short-handed away from home under sustained pressure, grinding out a result when the performance was not at its best. That is the hallmark of a champion. City are stumbling, Arsenal are grinding, and in a title race, grinding wins over stumbling every single time. 8 games, 67 points, 7 ahead of the only team that can stop us. Trust the process, trust the manager, trust the players. The last time this club lifted the Premier League trophy, I was a different person. 22 years of waiting has built into something enormous and beautiful and almost unbearable. And this group of players, this extraordinary, resilient, deeply talented group of players, are on the edge of ending it. I am Andrew. This is Andy Gunners Live. If you have been with me until the end of this video, you are exactly the kind of supporter that makes this community what it is. Subscribe if you have not already. Like the video. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one. Tell me what you think of tonight's result. Tell me whether you believe. Tell me where you are watching from. Because together, across every corner of this world, we are all waiting for the same moment. The moment the Premier League trophy comes home. Come on, you Gunners.